Live on the weekend. It's, what is it? I almost said Saturday. It's Friday, right? It's only Friday. But anyways, happy weekend, everyone. I hope you are well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're making money this weekend, right? Now, the price difference between Uber and Lyft in American cities and states ranked. I also hope that we get to see this for Europe, for South Americas, Canada, etc. But right now, this video is about the price difference between Uber and Lyft in American cities and states ranked. Now, when I was on the call with CEO David Risher, right, the Lyft CEO, the one thing he said, the entire conversation was off record, but I'm going to tell you one thing he said. He said, we need to get competitive with Uber, right? Now that alone is a mammoth statement. If you want to get competitive with them, I would say pay the drivers more, number one, and look at each city and state and see how you rank. So this is why I'm making this video for you. And I'm sure you have seen this, Mr. Risher, right? But if you want Lyft to succeed, and what really sucks for Lyft today is that their stock, and this is the danger zone. This is the danger zone. Look at that. This is it went up to $10 something, and then it dropped all the way down to $8.58, and it's still going down, right? So while Uber was going up, I'm sure their Q1 earnings were just released. I'll have to look at that. Hit the like button, by the way. It looks like this, right? This is dangerous for Lyft. So if you want to mix it up, Mr. Risher, stay true to your word. You got to pay the drivers better, and you got to become competitive city by city, state by state. Now, the ride-hailing era has thrown up one perennial question: what's cheaper, Uber or Lyft? What's cheaper, Uber or Lyft? And I'm sure riders will appreciate this. And dear rider, if you come across this video, understand one thing, right? You are paying an arm and a leg for your trip right now, which really sucks. But the poor driver who's in the front seat, namely us, behind the steering wheel, has never ever seen such low pay. So check in with him or her, your driver, and ask them, why don't you guys compare notes after your trip, right? Hey, I paid $150. Wow, I only got 45, right? Check in with them. You will be surprised. So to determine which ride-hailing app is cheaper, CashNet used fare estimators from Uber and Lyft's calculators to see the price differences between the two in every state. They used an average of 4 journeys, which is great, 6 miles each from the city center to compare fares. Great exercise, by the way. They also calculated fares from different times in the day to see how much a part congestion and traffic played a part in price. Key takeaways. Uber and Lyft fares are highest in New York State, where they are on average $39.19 and $35.68 respectively. 39 Uber, 35 Lyft. That's the average. That's like literally the starting point, right? The average. Utah has some of the cheapest Uber prices, where trips cost $14.42 on average. And that's way higher than it used to be, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. It looks like this. So among cities, the biggest price differences between the two services was New Orleans. Or New Orleans. I don't know how to say it properly. I think it's New Orleans, right? And LA. New Orleans, LA, that's Louisiana, where an average Uber trip was roughly $12.20 cheaper than a Lyft trip. So, Mr. Risher, you need to address New Orleans on Monday, right? Because you are losing a ton of drivers, and Lyft drivers in New Orleans probably say, "Nah, done. Only doing Uber over here." So Uber versus Lyft. Uber versus Lyft. Which is cheaper, and by how much in major US cities? So if you've got somewhere to be in New Orleans, book an Uber for the average 6-mile journey. An Uber trip costs $12.20, less than Lyft. Meanwhile, in New York City, catching a Lyft is actually cheaper by $9.40. So if I look at this map, and we'll go over the maps, man, it's tiny here, right? So Honolulu, Lyft is cheaper by $1.25. San Antonio, $1.82. Denver, Colorado, 38 cents. San Diego, $3.95. LA, Uber is cheaper than by $2.60. And by the way, I'm going to put this link underneath because these numbers are so minute. I don't know if your eyes can see them. Mine are not really focusing too well on these tiny little baby numbers. But I'm going to put the link down there below because this is fascinating, right? So you could say, "Oh, I'm working for Uber in Boston." Oh, by the way, Boston is $2.75 cheaper. Lyft is cheaper. So you're going to get probably more trips on average with Lyft in Boston, right? Now in Miami, Lyft is cheaper by $1.70. You'll probably get more Lyft trips down there, right? Tampa, Uber is cheaper by $2.15. Colorado Springs, Uber is cheaper by 47 cents. Dallas, Texas, Uber is cheaper by $1.70, right? Cincinnati, Ohio, Lyft is cheaper by $3.33. Phoenix, Arizona, Lyft is cheaper by $2.46 on average per trip, right? So here, Uber and Lyft, which is cheaper and how much in every state? So what I advise any newbie is if you are signing up, you sign up in both, right? And this video is actually going to help you because if a fare is cheaper in a specific state, for example, in Oregon, Lyft is cheaper by an average of 29 cents. California, Uber is cheaper by $1.36. So you know in California, you're going to get on average more Uber trips, right? So hopefully this graph, A says Lyft is worse than Uber in my opinion. That is true. I'm not arguing that, right? We're just talking what is cheaper by city and by state, right? So we're going to go through these here, comparing Uber and Lyft prices across America. There is no doubt that ride-hailing is popular stateside. The Pew Research Center reports that 1 in 3, 36% adults in the United States have used a ride-hailing service. Uber and Lyft are the biggest players, right? So now below, find out how much an average trip costs on Uber and Lyft in a state or city of your choice. So let's go through the states. In Alabama, the average Uber is $25.96, Lyft $25.26. Lyft would be cheaper by 70 cents, right? Alaska, Uber is cheaper by an average of $2.07. So you're going to see more Uber trips in Alaska. Arizona, Lyft is cheaper by 70 cents. Arkansas, Uber is cheaper on average $1.34. California, Uber is cheaper by $1.16. And the average price, by the way, in California is $21.50, right? $21.50 for 6 miles. This is all based on a 6-mile trip. 4 trips taken, average, right? So Colorado, Uber is cheaper by 28 cents. Connecticut, Uber is cheaper by 55 cents. Delaware, Uber is cheaper by $1.34. Florida, Uber is cheaper by $1.83 on average. Georgia, Uber is cheaper by $1.89. Hawaii, Uber is cheaper by $1.25. Now, alone in state after state after state, you can see that Uber fares on a 6-mile trip are cheaper, right? So what does David Risher need to do? He needs to pull up his socks and say, okay, these are states we need to compete in, right? And adjust the rates. That's the starting point. Basic math here. I'm helping you, Mr. Risher. Idaho, Lyft is not much cheaper, only 6 cents. Illinois, quite a difference, $2.59. Indiana, 68 cents, Uber is cheaper. Iowa, Lyft is cheaper by 45 cents. Kansas, Uber is cheaper by 26 cents. Kentucky, Uber is cheaper by $1.36. Louisiana, Uber is cheaper by $2.98. Maine, Lyft is cheaper by 56 cents. Maryland, Uber is cheaper by $2.64. Again, they, first column, what the average trip cost. For example, in Maine, $19.65. These are 4 trips, average of 4 trips, 6 miles each, right? So good starting point to do your math. Minnesota is quite a lot. Uber is cheaper, $4.22. Mississippi, Lyft is cheaper, $1.25. Missouri, Uber is cheaper, $1.56. Montana, Uber is cheaper, $1.87. And then Montana, average trip cost $26.45 on Uber, $28.32 on Lyft. Nebraska, Uber is cheaper by $1.38 per trip. Nevada, Lyft is cheaper by 32 cents. The average there is $20.17 for a 6-mile trip. New Hampshire, Uber is cheaper by 12 cents. New Jersey, Lyft is cheaper by $1.95. Quite expensive, $30.92 in New Jersey, the average price for Uber, $28.97 for Lyft. New Mexico, Lyft is cheaper by 74 cents. New York, Lyft is cheaper by $3.33. North Carolina, Uber is cheaper by $2.57. North Dakota, Uber is cheaper by 39 cents. Ohio, Uber is cheaper, $1.18. So you can see that the majority of the times, Uber is whipping Lyft's ass. And David Risher, you can't allow that to happen, right? Otherwise, this here is going down to $5, $6, and it's going to be swallowed by another company. It's happening soon, right? So when I had the call, I said you need to act yesterday. We had a call more than a week ago, right? You have to put these things into immediate effect. Tennessee, Uber is cheaper, $2.23. South Dakota, Lyft is cheaper, $1.21. Utah, Uber is cheaper at 91 cents. Texas, Uber is cheaper, $1.20 per ride. Vermont, Uber is cheaper, $2.49. Virginia, Uber is cheaper, $1.65. Washington, Lyft is cheaper, $2.44 per trip. West Virginia, Lyft is cheaper by 23 cents per trip. Wisconsin, Uber is cheaper by $4.71. That's a lot. And Wisconsin, the average trip price for a 6-mile ride is $20.81. Wyoming, Lyft is cheaper by $2.11. So the entire link and all the info is below. I do like to read some of the comments. Stephen Hines in the house. Very good point. You should throw in airport trips because airport trips is just paying trash, right? No, very, very bad. So Bradley Schrock says both companies need to reevaluate. They both use India as a call center. They don't care about and by the way, this is fantastic. I mean, if I leave the link below, you guys can jump in and write your comments, right? But you got to read this. So they don't care about customer or the driver in the least one bit. Lyft is notorious for leaving its driver stranded on the side of the road and will deactivate their account should anything at all the wrong with their vehicle. Blah, 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 blah. Read all of that. Geez, this guy's ranting. Scott Gordon says, actually, Bradley, Uber uses a call center in the Philippines. Bonnie Welch, I've had many problems with Uber. I choose Lyft every time. Richard B, for some reason, I could not get the Uber app to work in Las Vegas. Gourmet Gourmand says, anyone who has ever used the two and price compares before each ride will see that this article is utter nonsense. Glenn says, what a joke. I work mainly Cleveland and rides. Just read it. It's all there. It's all there, my friends. So Uber and Lyft, which is cheaper? Do comment in your city, right? If you are a rider, give us some really important feedback. All of this feedback, I think, is important for Mr. David Risher, who apparently wants to become competitive. And please kindly leave your comments. I'm out of here. My weekend has begun. It was mainly to get you this link, to get some feedback from you all. Please hit the like button on the way out, my friends. I wish you all a very, very safe weekend. Have fun with your family. I'm excited to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Champy's in the house. Lyft driver from San Francisco, California. Shout out to you. So I'm excited about dinner with my wife. David Sink's in the house. Have a blessed weekend, my friends. And then I'm also excited about Guardians of the Galaxy. Over 90% score by the public. We shall see. Anybody here else going to see Guardians of the Galaxy? Please check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce the weekend is here. Have a marvelous time. Have fun. Make money. And let's keep on putting the pressure on these companies, right? Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Get it out on social media. Uber and Lyft, no ride should be no less than $5 no matter how. And that is a very good point. Now, France fought and battled. Their minimum is €8.50, my friends. $8.50 is their starting point. You see, this is what we need to fight for. We really need to fight for what drivers have in Seattle. We need to interact with our legislators. We need to push new regulations, new laws, new bills in these states, right? That is the way to do it, right? Fight through the states. Start introducing the bills. Speak to your legislators. They need your vote, right? Otherwise, we're going to vote their ass out. So they are really the key to putting on the pressure. So Samson says, let's see, Happy Cinco de Mayo. And Nick says, I get more ride requests from Lyft compared to Uber in Houston, but the pay sucks. Neither is the app user-friendly. Uber is much, what does it say? Uber is much, oops. There it goes. Uber is not much behind when it comes to scamming drivers left and right. Larry, the scrapper guy, says, been a long time. Out of commission due to kidney failure. Oh my God, I hope you're okay, buddy. Feel better, my friend, feel better. Stephen Hines in the house, THG in the house, Liam. Nice to have some competition, he says. The real issue is separate price banning. Riders pay X, drivers see Y. That is true. Simple car detailing is in the house. Nick P is in the house. So yeah, leave your messages there. Get it out. And please comment below. I wish you all an amazing weekend. John Saul says in El Paso, Texas, the fares have been as low as $3 and some change. And the big problem is the take rate. Vasilius in the house, Joseph's in the house. The big problem is the rate now. They are working on a split 75 to 80% for the gig companies, 25 to 30% for us, right? It's falling. SB Rides in the house, Santa Barbara. I was there today in Santa Barbara, out in Montecito. I will be back in Montecito tomorrow again. Any Santa Barbara drivers out there want to meet, text me. So, much love from Cali. Check out the link below. If you have any issues with the apps and you've been deactivated, either Gig Rocket or Activation Hero can help you. Never Ready Wait. What happened to that GIF? Sorry, I can't. What is that? Let's see what common sells. So check it out. Carlos is in the house. Watch the link below and check it out. City by city, my friends. City by city. Right? Check it out. New Orleans, New York City. Those are the ones we should check out. All I get is garbage offers from Lyft. I'm trying to read some messages here. Anybody has questions? No. All right, my friends, let the weekend begin. Let the weekend begin. Have a good one and be safe out there, please. Be safe. Thank you.